it's already going. Whenever you're ready to start, just let me know.
We're live. We're live now.
We're live.
What number of your podcast?
This will be our fourth.
This is your fourth podcast.
Yeah.
The name of your podcast is?
Yeah, it's actually, we're going to rechange it from the Vape XL podcast to the Seibo Shen podcast. So this is going to be podcast number 1. I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend in the making, 3-time world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Denny Prokopos. We got a really special podcast. It's a 2-for-1 today. Denny, do you want to do your thing?
The Denny Prokopos Show, episode number 9. 6 through 8, I was unsure on the numbers. I still haven't dropped 6 for technical difficulties, but hey, you know what? This is number 9. It's official. We're doing our thing, and I'm happy to be on the Seibo Shen podcast.
All right. So what's a little bit different about today is we're not going to be focusing on technology, health, or vaporizers, but we got some big stuff coming up this weekend. We got UFC 197. We also got EBI 6. So I think before we jump into it, we need to do some proper activation. So today I got some good stuff from our guys over at Guild Extracts. Their Remedy CBD. You want to say a little bit about how you use CBD in your training regimen?
CBD, there's 2 ways that I use it, either through the vape exhale with the oil. Mm-hmm. Also, there have been times that I use just pure CBD flower. But also what I do like is I get a 50% CBD, 50% THC chocolate. I'm forgetting the exact milligrams, but it's the Dreamers one. It's really good stuff. And the Kiva also has some good stuff. Yeah. Boom. Took a rip.
Hey, so that 50-50 blend that you take,
Can I take a rip now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So what I like about Guild Extracts is
hold on, and this is pure CBD?
This is pure CBD. Yep.
Is there an actual ratio to this?
This is 20-1. It's their Remedy CBD. I was told it was a 20-1 ratio, so not a lot of THC in this one. Just a lot of anti-inflammatory goodness. I know you had a really rough strength and conditioning workout earlier today, so I knew your body would be waiting for this.
Very tasty, and yeah, I like.
All right, so
it's tasty and smooth.
So now that we are both activated, why don't we jump into EBI 6. So that's the Eddie Bravo Invitational. It's a brand new kind of format when it comes to sport jiu-jitsu. Before we jump in, you want to tell us, the people watching and listening, a little bit more about this format and why it's so interesting.
Okay, EBI, the Eddie Bravo Invitational, submission-only jiu-jitsu means we're not focused at points at all, and then if neither of the opponents submit each other within the 10-minute round, they go to triple overtime. In triple overtime, there's 2 options. Either you can choose the back with the over-under, which is the ability to choke or possibility to transition to the truck, or still can transition to the armbar. Then we're going to start in spiderweb position. What is spiderweb? Spiderweb is the armbar position essentially with a deep hook and the leg hugged, or just deep hook and the feet crossed. Feet crossing is optional. And then if neither opponents tap each other, then it comes down to who escaped the quickest. The truest, purest form of submission only, with also the idea of entertainment involved. Why? It comes down to a submission showdown. If neither opponents tap each other within that 10 minutes, it comes down to a showdown of who can tap who, if they can. And basically in the overtime, it's unlimited time. It's like watching boxing, and after let's say 10 rounds are over, after those 10 rounds, it's like, okay, who can knock each other out? Let's go.
Yeah, so you always get a finish, right?
Most of the time you get a finish. There's a very high percentage of finishing here because the rules are specifically for that. Something that Eddie designed in these tournament rules is that in order to collect the 50K, which is on the line, you must tap your opponent within 10 minutes. If you go to overtime, even if you tap the guy, you don't get paid. So you only get paid every time you tap someone within regulation.
Got it. And This guy knows the rules so well because, well, he's the EBI 2 lightweight champion, so really happy to have him on today's show. This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm honored to be sitting next to him as a jiu-jitsu nerd and beginner myself. Being able to speak with someone like him and understand the concepts really helps me kind of accelerate my own learning, and hopefully, you know, I can put in some good performances next month at the Gracie Regionals.
For sure, man, and it's always an honor to hang out with you. You're my boy. You know, you're someone I really respect, someone I always learn from, and it's a mutual feeling.
All right, well, let's jump into this. So we got the EBI 6 brackets here. I was nerdy enough to go print it up at my house. So we're gonna run through all the brackets really quick. Denny's gonna tell you a little bit about each of these grapplers and you know, who he thinks may or may not have the advantages going in. So in the first bracket, you know, we got ex-MMA fighter Dean Lister going against Fabian Bolanos.
He actually got replaced. This bracket's actually a little older, but it's okay. I believe Bolanos is facing some other gentleman. But really quickly, they brought in Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan is a new black belt under Gary Tonin and John Danaher. He's a young up-and-coming guy that I think is amazing. I'm not sure who he's facing first. I think he replaced Eddie Cummings.
Yep.
And then there's some other Brazilian guy that replaced Dean Lister. Off the top of my head, I'm not remembering who.
Okay.
But here's exactly how I see this playing out. I see the master and the student probably. Actually, no. Tonin's down here. There's another way. You know what? It's all good. Well, basically on this side we have Tonin, we have Tonin, we have Gordon Ryan, we have Yuri Simones, Evandro Nunez, Felipe Fogolini, who's very, very good. So Gary Tonin's amazing.
Yep. We all know Gary.
He just had a fucking incredible match with Husamar Paharis.
Yes.
And, you know, if you were looking at that and you were scoring that one, I would say that Tonin won because Tonin attacked more with submissions. And he put Paharis on the defensive. He put him in more submissions. So you can never count out him. He's definitely one of the favorites. Another guy definitely on this side that's a favorite, without a doubt, you know, even probably the favorite to win it. Yuri Simones, good friend of mine, training partner, ADCC champion, double gold, his weight class, and absolute no-gi world champion. This guy, in my opinion, is one of the best pound for pound. His pressure is amazing. His guard passing, his balance, his ability to go from 0 to 100 like no other. His commitment to dedication, because I know him personally. I know what he's dedicated, what he sacrificed to be where he's at. Trains with Kayotera, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest jiu-jitsu minds of all time. Yuri Simones, definitely, in my opinion, probably, if I had to choose one dude, that's my favorite to win the whole thing.
Hey, you know, real quick is what I wanted to point out was you were the lightweight champion, but what's different about EBI 6 is this is the absolute tournament,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
Can you explain to the people what that means and why it's so special?
Well, absolute means all the weight classes, no weight class. Everybody gets bunched into one 16-man pool, and essentially winner take all.
Yeah, so it's like
winner take all, sub only.
This is why I like watching absolute tournaments is, you know, there are no weight classes, so you are really going to see who is the best regardless of weight. None of this pound for pound stuff where you have to say, oh man, if Gary was as big as this guy,
yeah,
you know,
you
what
get
would
to see
happen?
that.
Now you're just going to see it.
You really get to see that, you know, and yeah, so Gary's really good also at like leg locks, defending leg locks, which I think is really important. You know, Kyle's really good at that stuff. And then also he's really good off of his back. He's really good at going from his back to the top and getting to his good positions. So there's that. And then obviously what we said about Tonin. Tonin's amazing. He's a lion, incredible.
And Tonin's one of the smaller competitors in the brackets.
Yeah, but he definitely has a strong, you know, shot. And then there's his black belt, Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan's amazing. He's one of the top American talents coming out right now. He recently had a match against my friend and training partner Nathan Orchard. He actually ended up Invitational, which he was extremely dominant in. The kid's amazing. Evandro Nunez, he's really good. He's a black belt from the Gracie Academy. He's a guy that has a lot of experience. Fabian Bolanos, he's really good. Jason Flynn, he's a beast. He's a dude that fought MMA, but now like more so focused on grappling. He's really good. Felipe Fogolini's world class. He's a world champion. He's really good. Who knows, man? That might be the dark horse that I'm not even talking about. Then.
So Fogolini, you think is going to be the dark horse?
Who knows? You never know. You never know. If anybody says, "Hey, I know this guy, I know that guy," they're full of shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's a 16-man. It's an absolute. It's in the Orpheum, home of the American Idol. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's gonna happen. You never fucking know.
Yeah.
If they tell you, I guarantee you this. You know what they're guaranteeing you? They're guaranteeing you dick.
So tell me this. We got a 10th Planet representative in there, Boogie Martinez.
Yes.
You know,
he's definitely one of the favorites. I definitely think that Yuri, Boogie, and Tonin are probably the favorites. Also, I would say...
Even though they're amongst the smaller guys in these brackets?
Yeah, and I would also say Rustam Chisev, DJ Jackson, Amir Lam, another dark horse, potentially. Luis Rocha, very good. Matez Dinez, a fucking monster. Black belt under Marcelo Garcia, I believe, Pan Am champion, Mundial champion. He's a no-gi specialist. Obviously, he's very good in the gi, but he's also very good in no-gi. Richie Boogeyman Martinez. Boogie's amazing, dude. Boogie's taking second at EBI. I know he's been working hard. He's bigger than ever. He's amazing at, just bringing it, just constantly putting pressure. He has a very good rubber guard. He has some very unique things that he does from his rubber guard. His chokes are amazing. He has really good Japanese neckties, really good darces. He was recently in my jiu-jitsu academy, taught a seminar, one of the coolest seminars, very technical on modern jiu-jitsu, specifically modern 10th Planet jiu-jitsu. I learned a lot. Man, to tell you the truth, I really hope, I would love to see my boy win it too. I'll tell you this, if there's two guys that I really love to see win it, it's Yuri or Boogie. But hey, if Amir Alam could pull it off, fuck yeah. If none of those dudes, hopefully Tonin or Gordon Ryan, because I think he's such an amazing talent.
So is there one guy on this bracket, like if someone, buys the UFC Fight Pass for the first time, gets to see EBI 6?
And also it's going to be on pay-per-view. It's going to be on pay-per-view on Dish Network. It's going to be on on-demand pay-per-view. That should be basic cable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it's offered through that too.
Yeah, it's
cool.
offered through
Cool. I
everything.
thought it was just Fight Pass.
Well, Fight Pass for sure, but they're also saying that it's going to be on all the other ones, and
Okay.
I believe it is.
So if there's someone kind of tuning in for the first time, is there one guy, regardless if he's the favorite or not to win, but has a style that's like really exciting and dynamic to watch, so that even a casual person would be, whoa, like if you show...
Guys that I know for sure gonna bring a dude is Tonin. Tonin brings it like no other. I would say Yuri is gonna bring it like no other dude. Felipe Fogolini brings it. Gordon Ryan is gonna bring it. Boogie for sure is gonna bring it 100. Matez Dinez gonna bring it. Lucas Rocha gonna bring it. DJ Jackson, he's another beast. He's another potential dark horse.
Man.
He's another guy that could potentially win it or do a lot of damage. Rustam Chisev, he's incredible, dude. Super high level wrestler, a guy that has heart like no other. Guy that's been shown very difficult to submit. It's so hard to say. There's so many good guys, so many talented guys. Multiple world champions are in here.
That's what I'm saying.
That's another thing. This is divisional world champions. This is the divisional world champions in multiple weight classes. That's why this is so unique. And then very first time ever, UFC Fight Pass, very first time ever. It's gonna be on pay-per-view. EBI 6, baby. Fucking amazing.
I'm opening up my wallet for it. That's for sure.
Yes,
That's for sure.
Support, pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, don't stream it for free from some weird...
It doesn't help the fighters. I'll tell you this. I know Eddie Bravo's goal is to get to $1 million to pay the winner at some point. That would be a beautiful thing. I want everybody to think about this. Think about your kids growing up with the potential of thinking about making $1 million in a jiu-jitsu tournament. That's something you really want to think about.
That's
a beautiful thing. That means that there's more kids that they can spend more time focusing on jiu-jitsu and getting less brain trauma. Because it's all the scientific research that they're talking about these days that it's bad to get hit in the head. I love MMA, but grappling grappling ain't all that bad for your health. You know
Hey,
what I'm
I started off as a striker. Actually, I'd like to say I was pretty good at it, but I wish I discovered the grappling earlier on because aside from being safer, I don't know, as a person that likes
It's
to
a little
analyze
bit
stuff,
more of an intelligent approach
Oh, man.
opposed to just, you know. But hey, you know what though? I do see the beauty.
all of it's great. All of it's great.
In the destruction
You-
of
you-
someone's consciousness with.
You could just grapple
Gloves.
longer. You could grapple longer.
It's hard-
And you could
that's
go
what's harder on your
100%.
front, yeah.
You could go 100% with your buddies. You don't want to be. Wouldn't want to hit you. I wouldn't want you to hit me 100% either. You know. So, speaking about hitting people, why don't we jump into UFC
You got the card?
197?
You got the card?
I got the card. I got one more. Actually, this one's not CBD. This is their Larry OG Sugar, which
wow.
they
Oh wow.
they won a recent either cannabis cup or hemp con with this.
So we're smoking some high level oil right here, and one either the cannabis cup or the hemp con. You know what I'm saying? Vape Exhale Seibo Shen does nothing but bring you the best. Dog, we stay on top of this. This is some high level 10th planet. You know
Yes,
what I'm
and
saying?
with the new symbiotic chandelier hydrotube.
Yes, talk about this. Talk about this.
Well, Denny right here is demonstrating the smooth inhalations of the Vape XL Evo and the symbiotic hydrotube. It has 4 hand-blown chandeliers in there to offer extreme percolation so that not only is your vapor flavorful, but it's super smooth. Even though he's coughing, he probably would have
Amazing.
coughed
I
a lot
love it.
more. That's more of the expectorant versus the smoke type of cough. But anyways, let's jump into UFC 197. There's a bunch of good fights on the undercard, but we're running a little long here. So why don't we start at the third fight from the top? Anthony Pettis versus Edson Barboza. As a former boxer and kickboxer, like, this really gets me excited. You know, from a grappler's perspective, what are you looking at between this matchup?
Anthony Pettis is amazing. He is Showtime. He brings the action. Former UFC 155-pound champion, former WEC 55-pound champion. The guy's a winner. Edson Barboza, he's about to get to that next level. This fight either takes him there or makes him realize that he's not there and he's got some shit to work on. Barboza's amazing though. He's got very good striking. He's got high-level jiu-jitsu. Pettis is very good everywhere. Seems to have a very good ability to just blend everything. That's what Pettis seems to be very good at. He's good at everything. Good at everything. He's a very good striker, right? His jiu-jitsu, even though I think he's only like a blue or a purple belt, homeboy's high level, dude. Like when I'm watching that dude, all right, yeah, maybe he's not a black belt, but dude, he's high level on the ground. He's very good off his back. He's very good on top. He has very good ability to stop the wrestling. I like Pettis. I think Pettis is a good fighter. You know, man, when I'm looking at this, it's very hard to not choose Pettis just because of what I said and just because of how good I think he is. But hey, you never know, it's fighting. What are your thoughts?
Right, so, you know, both of them have an awesome kicking game. Maybe Barboza even kicks harder than Pettis. I would say Pettis is the more accurate striker between the two. One of the things that I've been watching is, over the course of the last few years, I've noticed Barboza has become a much better process-oriented fighter. You know, like he's not just looking for leg kick after leg kick. You know, he's trying to break his opponent down, not trying to get them out of there in just one round. Whereas I feel like Pettis, for as great as he is at blending all those things together, to me, he does all the big things right, but the small things incorrectly. Like, he'll let himself get trapped on the fence for a full round, you know, and I believe he has so much confidence in his offense that he knows that he only needs a split second in order to change the course, which is why a lot of times I think, like, during the cage fighting or during the clinch, you know, if he just got his back off the cage and didn't get stuck there for rounds at a time, you know, he wouldn't be losing these split decision fights to guys like Alvarez, who I still think he won personally, but because of these kind of subtle adjustments where I believe Barboza's strategic game is getting better, whereas Pettis, for all his offensive greatness, you know, I haven't seen much changes from his strategic side. So I'm going to go with the underdog in this one and choose Barboza by decision.
Fuck, man, that was really good. Like, you broke that shit down really well.
Oh, I like to watch this stuff.
Damn,
You know?
that was nice. Ooh, I like I like it. Okay.
So what about you? I mean, who are you picking?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Pettis, dude. I'm gonna go with Pettis for the simple fact that I think he's a better winner.
I mean,
than Barboza.
he's done it at higher levels. I agree.
I think his experience, and I think it's time for him to get a win.
All right. Well, hey, I got Barboza. Denny's got Pettis.
Showtime.
All right, next fight.
Demetrius Johnson versus Henry Cejudo. Ooh. Henry Cejudo, I would say after he pulls this off.
Oh, wow.
I would say after Cejudo pulls this off, I'm going to say something. You know what? Honestly, I think Demetrius Johnson is the better fighter. He's more complete, he's more well-rounded. But I'm out of the love and admiration for what Cejudo's done, and out of someone that loves wrestling and fucking believes in the wrestler, dog. And I don't know. I want Cejudo to win. Fuck, dude. I want Cejudo. Cejudo's a bad motherfucker. Let me tell you.
Okay, well, why do you want Cejudo to win?
I
don't know the backstory.
All right,
as much.
when I was a kid in high school, because I did wrestling and jiu-jitsu, I heard about Henry Cejudo, right? And then I met Henry Cejudo when he was training at American Top Team. This is after he won the Olympic gold medal. I met him when I was at American Top Team. We got to share the mat together, and we used the jacuzzi, and we talked. And he was such a cool dude. He has such a wonderful perspective on life. He's such a winner. I love his philosophy. He's such a badass dude, and I'm not just saying what he says, I'm talking about more so what he's done and what he represents. He's an American hero to me. He's an American hero. He's a grappling hero. He's someone that I really respect, and I really want him to win, man. I really want Cejudo to win. I want Cejudo to win for just because who Cejudo is and what he represents. Like, he's a bad motherfucker, dude, and fuck, dude. I mean, I think Demetrius Johnson has a better shot at winning, if I'm really telling you the truth, because, like, I think he's got better hands. I think he's quicker. I think he has an overall better MMA IQ, and I think he's, like, the ultimate winner, and I think he's just, like, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the game. I really think Demetrius Johnson is, but I fucking think Cejudo's just got it, dude. Cejudo's got it, dude, and somehow it's gonna work out for Cejudo, dude. Like, I don't know how, but I think it is, because I know that, like, things in life, bro, they work out certain ways, and I just believe in Cejudo.
You know, that's interesting. So I'm gonna give my pick before I go into my little breakdown.
But I think I will say this. I would say there's a 70% chance at Demetrius Johnson winning and a 30% chance of Cejudo winning, but I still think Cejudo's gonna win.
I'm picking Cejudo too. I don't know why. It's not because of what you just said, but there's just something about the momentum that he has going in. But I also believe DJ is, you know, top 3 pound for pound guy. You know, you were talking about Pettis blending everything together really well. I think Demetrius Johnson, he's like a Pettis that blends things even better.
Cejudo's gonna do some shit that no one expects him to do, probably.
Well, the reason
it's
why...
gonna be something that you least expect, and it's gonna be like that winner effect. That's what I call it. I call it a winner effect. There's some dudes, they could just fucking win, and I think after he wins this, like, it does some fucking shit, takes him to the next level. This might be some crazy fantasy shit that I'm saying, but I've seen this happen so many times in fighting that it's just hard not to see things aligning. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm full of shit. You know, that's always possible, because no one really knows.
Right.
That's the beauty of fighting. No one really fucking knows.
Yep. I mean, the logical part of me picks DJ, but I just have a feeling Cejudo will pull it off. And the reason why is I believe DJ uses his clinch and takedowns to really enhance his striking and all the other things that he does to frustrate his opponents. And, you know, he's usually, when I watch him fight, it feels like he's like a half step ahead of his opponent, because he's always, whatever phase of fighting that they're in, it looks like he's in the phase that he's more comfortable in versus where they're more comfortable in. But against Cejudo, especially in the clinch, I just don't.
So you think the clinch is what's going to be the difference?
And I think, and Cejudo is super good about, a lot of people will use their punches to set up their takedowns, but Cejudo always uses his punches to set up the underhook, and then from the underhook, he'll work his takedowns and his top game, and I think that's how he's going to beat DJ.
I think that's a really good point, man. One thing that's also really interesting is that we see that Cejudo is willing to fight people with straight up striking, but use wrestling principles. But at the same time, like dirty fight them. So like Randy Couture called it like dirty boxing, you know? But Cejudo will throw more kicks though. And knees and stuff like that. He's a little more dynamic in that sense.
Correct.
And with stuff like that, because like he throws knees and dynamics and kicks like that, it's hard to predict a guy like that. And I think one of the best things about MMA is like the element of surprise. You never know. And I think that's where maybe he gets it.
Yeah.
You don't know. We don't know.
I feel like what I'm gonna say is I think Cejudo may even catch Demetrius when Demetrius is switching stances. Most of the times that Demetrius has been dropped in his career is when he's going from southpaw to orthodox or vice versa. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, well, if you watch his old fights with Dodson, you know, it's his feet kind of getting tangled, and then Dodson capitalizes with a left hook. I think Cejudo has enough speed and athleticism to catch DJ during those transitions. So I'm going Cejudo, upset special, maybe TKO, 4th round.
All right.
You going unanimous decision, or are you gonna pick a finish?
I don't know. I just got Cejudo.
Cejudo. All right. All right. Well, let's get into
main event.
Yes.
John Bones Jones versus Ovens St. Perdue. So, you go first. Who you got?
So John Jones, round 2 TKO. This is actually a fight that I would prefer to see than DC. I think Jones would have beaten DC again. But Ovin St. Preux, I think that he's one of the maybe top 3 or 4 hardest hitters in the division. I think he's a top class athlete, so I think just kind of like pure athleticism wise, he could hang with John Jones. But I think where it falls apart for him is, even though he is such a hard hitter, I noticed that to me, his power comes more from his athleticism and his explosiveness. So once he starts tiring out, like he loses power throughout the fight. So whereas I believe John Jones is much more technique oriented. So even when he's tired, the technique's still there. So he still carries, you know, power because he's throwing with proper technique. And I think that the first round may look competitive, but once John Jones has a round of data to absorb and understand, you know, Ovin St. Preux's feints and whatever adjustments his camp made for him, then round 2, I think he's just going to bulldoze him with a takedown and unleash some ground and pound, unlike any ground and pound you've seen.
I think that's a really good analysis. I agree with that, and I agree with one other possibility. So I agree with the possibility that John Jones is going to go in there, feel him out, take him apart the first round, finish him in the second. I definitely agree that that's probably the most probable outcome. And there's one other. The possibility of Ovin potentially shocking the world. Now, here's why. No one expects him to win. There's zero pressure. He has skills that they're a challenge if he gets to what he needs to get to. Now, that's the only 2 potential outcomes I see of this fight. I definitely see John Jones winning though. If you're asking me, hey, you got money on this fight, who you betting? I'm betting John Jones. I think John Jones is probably the best fighter, pound for pound. It's between him and Demetrius Johnson right now, which is what makes this card so unique, is that you have 2 arguably the best pound for pound fighters ever on the card. They're both fighting. Who doesn't want to see that? Both are very, very technical fighters, and they have unique physical talents. They both bring unique physical talents to the table, and they have an exceptional IQ.
Agreed. I just think John Jones' technique is a little bit better. OSP has been prone to either getting worn down by wrestlers or taken down, and if you couple that with Jones's wide variety of striking diversity, you know, outside of the first round, actually, I do believe, you know, with all the upsets that have been happening, you know, I too could feel like a OSP first round, a KO for a shocker, but I don't know. I just John Jones's durability is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but I think that his durability.
Oh, super durable. Remember the thing when, you know, his toe was jacked and he didn't even notice it till Rogan pointed it out.
Yeah.
You know, and
You know, they talk about homeboy doing coke, you know, before fights, whatever. Fuck, that's pretty impressive. When you really think about what he did and what he was doing, I think that's pretty impressive.
Here you go, my friend. We'll do this as our last one before we head out. So, hope you guys enjoyed watching today. I know I learned a lot about the EBI competitors. I mean, I love jiu-jitsu, but you know, it's not something that I've been into for a really long time, nor do I know a lot about the actual competitors. So, great to get some previews and understanding about who's fighting and what they're good at. And then, obviously, the great UFC 197 that's coming up.
Ooh, very tasty.
All right, Denny, I know you got some seminars coming up. You want to tell them where you're going to be at, just in case?
Yes, I'm
people
going to
sign
be in Phoenix, Arizona, 10th Planet Phoenix, with my boy John Botel. I haven't seen him in a minute. I believe it's going to be the 29th of the month. Just look it up. And then I have a seminar in Des Moines, Iowa, at No Coast BJJ. Again, look that up. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Denny Prokopos. If you're interested in learning 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, 10thplanetjj.com, $4.99 a month. Eddie Bravo teaches. That's where all, you know, the moons congregate, and you know, I think it's pretty amazing. $4.99 a month.
Oh, that's a value. It's
Hell
a
yeah.
steal. It's a steal.
If you want to learn jiu-jitsu from me, 10thplanetjujitsusf.com. I teach 6 days a week, and then I also teach seminars around the world. I just got done doing a seminar tour where I went to 7 different countries, and I taught in Stockholm, Sweden, Bern in Norway, the UK, Cyprus, Greece, Switzerland, you know, so that's pretty much that, and yeah, I think I taught somewhere else too.
Well, if you guys live in the San Francisco Bay Area, looking to do some form of self-defense, definitely go to 10th Planet San Francisco. It's a freaking steal to be able to train there, and also an honor to train with a world champion like Denny.
Yeah, man, thank you very much. I love the Vape Exhale. You're always a homie. It's always a blast to hang out with you. I always learn from you. I think you're a genius. I think what you're doing is cutting edge. I mean, the very first ever vaporizing water bong, dude, that does, you know, the oil and the flower. And then there's all this beautiful artistic glass, you know.
Yeah, we want form and function, you know, so I appreciate that you appreciate that.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck
Alright.
yeah, dude.
All right, should we get some food? Let's get some food.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.
10 all day.
How long was that?